Crazy year we saw in 2021. PSA shutting down, Beckett shutting down, creating a lot of madness. And amidst all this, you have SGC trying to increase their footprint by staying open and taking on increased volume and trying to prove to the market that they're a legit grading company. Did it work? Is it worth it buying their cards? We'll have a look at that in today's episode of DIY Sports Cards. Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of DIY Sports Cards, a place where we take a deeper dive into the buying and selling of sports cards for collectors and investors alike. I'm Ramon, the founder of this channel and the owner of IconicTradingCards.com. Today I want to talk to you about SGC. Been looking at them a lot in the past several months. Questions I have are probably similar to what you have. Are they worth it? Are they good? Are they a legitimate grading company? It seems like while PSA and Beckett was shutting down, SGC seized the opportunity to try to prove to the collectors and investors that grading with them is a legitimate option and one that's worth it in the long term. So is just SGC worth it? Is it worth buying their cards already graded? Today I want to take a look at how their card prices graded with SGC compare to those with other grading companies. We're going to look at eBay sales history to compare like cards, like grades, and see if it's worth it. Let's have a look, shall we? Now what we're going to do is we're going to flash the PSA graded cards on the left, and we're going to compare them to the SGC graded on the cards. At the end of the day, this is an eBay exercise. We're going to look at sales history for the two cards and see if there's a significant difference in price, in sales price between the two. First card we're going to look at is the PSA 10 version of the 2019 Bowman Prospect Wander Franco in a chrome. Comparing that to the same card in the SGC. The PSA 10 card sold at $219.99 with free shipping, and the card on the right sold for a little under $175 plus $4 shipping roughly. Okay, a little bit of a variance there. Looks like there's a small discount between the two, but hey, if you're looking to buy the graded card, or if you're looking to buy the card not the grade, the card on the right is pretty much showing to be a very viable option. Next one, let's look at the Justin Herbert Gem Mint 10 version of this Optic Hollow card. Compare that to the SGC 10 card. Card on the left sold for $978.98 on 42 bids with $12 expedited shipping. And the card on the right sold for $520 with free shipping. Same card. If you look at the pictures on the card on the right, the pictures were outstanding. They showed high quality. There's a very good case that that card, if it were to cross over to a PSA, would also be a 10. So there's a good chance. It also was a good indication that SGC does show to be a very legitimate grading company. This was a great example. One data point I know, but definitely one worth considering nonetheless. Big difference in cost. If I were buying, I'm buying the card on the right. Next card we're looking at, the Fernando Tatis 2019 Topps graded 10 in a 10. Same card in an SGC 10. The PSA 10 sold for $127. The card on the right went for less than half that price at $61. Big difference here. This one was shocking. Interesting dynamic here, but one worth noting nonetheless. Next card. Maybe vintage will show difference. I've heard anecdotally that vintage cards, it doesn't matter if you grade between PSA or an SGC. It does not matter. A 3 is a 3. Those prices should be the same. Let's find out. Mickey Mantle, PSA 3 in a 1964 Topps. Compare that same card to an SGC 3. The one on the left sold for $300, give or take, plus $4 shipping. Card on the right sold for $200 with $5 shipping. It's almost a $100 difference, 33%. That's not exactly a card that's priced the same between the two. Advantage SGC in my opinion. Next card. Let's look at the Johnny Bench rookie in a PSA 6. Same card in an SGC. Card on the left sold for $450 more or less, free shipping. Card on the right sold for, Again, $100 less, but this time with $5 shipping. Okay, let's call it $94 less. Still a big difference. At $450 down to $350. Not quite the same price as what we're being told by people out there. Vintage sells the same. Not so much. Let's look at another card. How about, this will be a unique case. Let's look at a PSA 3 version of the Mickey Mantle in the 1959 Topps and compare that to an SGC 4.5 on the same card. The card on the right is going to be very clean. No creases. It's got pretty decent corner. It's off-centered, but the surface looks quite good. And on the left, I want to call out the crease that you'll see right in the middle, which is why it is a PSA 3. The interesting point about this one is that card sold for $434 on a buy it now, whereas the 4.5 sold for just under $35 for the same card in a higher grade. That's not a big difference for cost for a card that's a grade and a half better in a SGC when compared to a PSA. Does it make sense to buy the PSA 3 when you have a SGC 4.5 pretty much in the same price range? I think it's better to buy the SGC. Let's look at one more card in the vintage space. Here we have a 1980 top scoring leader, Bird, Julius Erving, and Magic Johnson in a PSA 6. Let's compare to that same card to an SGC 6. On the PSA, that sold for $1,000, a little over $1,000 on auction. The card on the right, that sold for $840 on auction. $210, that's a significant difference. And one that has me believing that if you're convinced that an SGC 6 is like a PSA 6, you should be buying that card on the right. And guess what? I did buy that card on the right. Got it in the mail today. Moving on. Now these are just examples of cards that are actually out there that have sold. What's done is done. So are there cards out there currently on the eBay marketplace that show the similar discounts? Let's have a look at that too. First example here you have is the Wander Franco. Let's go back to that card. Compare that to the SGC 10. We saw the one from before that already sold. Is there anything out there right now in a similar type of discounting? Short answer is yes. $235 on the left versus $180 on the right. You're looking at $55 in variance between the two. Chances are, if you believe that SGC 10 does compare to a PSA 10, why not buy the card on the right? My boy, Patrick Mahomes, 2017 Donruss base in the PSA 9. Compare that to an SGC 9. Not a big difference, only $50, but it's still $50 nonetheless. If you had that kind of money to spend, which one are you going to buy? For me, these days, I'm getting more and more convinced that it's probably worth more to buy the SGC on the right. Hedge my bets and let SGC capture more market share and get closer and closer to that PSA price. I really believe that's going to happen. Next one, let's go vintage. George Brett, PSA 7. Compare that to an SGC 7. Not quite a big difference here. It's only $30 on the other side. Maybe a 10% variance. If you're cost conscious, maybe the one on the right is better buy for you. But if you still believe that $30 is not much of a difference in the cost of that type of premium, maybe the card on the left is worth it too. We can't deny that PSA is still going to be king when it comes to grading. So in this particular case, I think some would probably argue that they're going to go ahead and buy the PSA card because it's already well established. So there you have it. What do you think? Is SGC worth the buy? To me, I think it is. I'm a big believer that SGC has taken the grading service very, very seriously and seizing the opportunity now to try to capitalize on the shutdowns of services that PSA has and even Beckett. They're getting more market share, and the more market share means more confidence in the product that they're producing, the services that they're grading. With that, I think it's only a matter of time before SGC does catch up to PSA in terms of market acceptance, and which is why I believe buying a graded card in an SGC does make a lot more sense for the long term because you're hedging your bets that SGC is ultimately going to catch up to PSA, and I believe that'll be the case. Now with me, I buy ultra modern, but also I buy vintage. I'm going to buy SGC in a vintage card anyways, because what I'm finding out is there is a significant difference in cost between a PSA graded card and an SGC graded card. And oh, by the way, if I ever see SGC graded card that's a 1.5 higher than a PSA card at the same price point, you bet I'm going to buy that SGC card. So there you have it. Interesting content, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like what you heard, hit the like button, subscribe. And at the end of the day, if you believe that SGC is providing the product and you're out there to buy the card, not the grade, I'm definitely a big believer and one to convince you that perhaps a strong look at SGC might be in play for you for future purchases. Anyhow, hope you all have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace out.